We are barely over a month into our brand new green-backed NDP government in British Columbia under Premier John Horgan, but we already have our first major scandal. Nobody said they weren't going to make my job easy. Previously, I have not introduced you to our BC Jobs Minister, Bruce Ralston, but I think more appropriately we can call him the new BC Jobs Destroyer, because at least one high-profile job was destroyed by Ralston and Horgan. And it went a bit further than that when the two decided to fire BC LNG Advocate and former BC Liberal leader, but also former NDP Cabinet Minister Gordon Wilson from his post, and then destroy his reputation and completely slander him on his way out the door. That all happened, and now Wilson is threatening to sue. Upon the firing of Wilson, Ralston and Premier Horgan explained to the public that the reason Wilson was fired is because he had done little to no work at all since the appointment to his $150,000 a year salary, and even went as far to suggest that he had done no paperwork, written no reports, and produced no meeting notes and no memos. The problem with that was it was all untrue, and the NDP even knew that before they slandered Wilson on his way out the door. And the reason we know they knew this themselves is because the BC NDP had in their hands the results of their very own Freedom of Information request that revealed a 2014 180-page report produced by Wilson. All of this available on the government's open information website as well. Now, supposedly, Bruce Ralston, our new jobs destroyer, claimed the NDP government had reviewed Wilson's work before they fired him. But if they did, how could they possibly miss the results of their own FOI when they slandered him out the door saying he had produced nothing? Well, the truth is, this is how the NDP operate. 16 years in opposition and they just couldn't help themselves. Premier John Horgan just couldn't help himself but take a cheap shot at a guy on his way out the door. It's amazing how the BC NDP could make Gordon Wilson, of all people, look like a sympathetic character by botching this so badly. And that's because, before this, I really had little time or sympathy for Wilson. Despite the namesake, his history in BC politics is nothing short of bizarre. He became BC Liberal leader in the late 80s and severed ties to the federal Liberal Party and brought the provincial party back from the wilderness during the 1991 election. But shortly after that, he was forced out as BC Liberal leader after an affair with a caucus colleague. Then he lost his attempt to retake the leadership in the ensuing leadership race to Gordon Campbell. That's when Wilson created his own political party for the '96 election called the Progressive Democratic Alliance. That resulted in him being the sole PDA member elected in 1996. But that didn't last long though, as late in another scandal-filled term of the BC NDP government of the 90s, Wilson crossed the floor and sat as a BC NDP cabinet minister from '99 until the 2001 election where the NDP were completely wiped out. Wilson then landed his LNG Advocate position after he endorsed Christy Clark and came home to the BC Liberals in the 2011 leadership election. And she patronized that endorsement with the appointment for Wilson to be BC's LNG Advocate. The man is clearly a political chameleon and far from a principled BC Liberal or anything else. But now he could cost us, the taxpayers, millions of dollars if he sues and wins. Premier Horgan and Bruce Ralston and the BC NDP know this too, and so they've been running out the apology train down the track at full speed this week, doing everything in their power to avoid legal action. Wilson is threatening to sue, so this week Horgan and Ralston retracted their comments and offered an apology to Wilson directly. But will it be enough to stop a lawsuit and settlement that will come from taxpayers, not Horgan or Ralston personally? Well, that's up to Wilson, but if he does sue, I think he'll win. For the Rebel.media, I'm Christopher Wilson. The powers at YouTube and Google are trying to censor the Rebel, but we're fighting back. They can't stop us.com. We're raising money to create our own app so the Rebel can remain independent and never succumb to censorship from Big Brother over at Google.